Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We're here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. I'm here. I'm your host Fisher, and I'm as always, I am with Krusty.
Hello, not quite always. Sometimes I take a little
Wow.
cheeky week off, but most of the time.
Yeah. Well, it's a two-man pod this week because Keeney is has got other stuff on. So just the
Drinker.
two-manner that we will still give a lot of in-depth analysis of the past week in wrestling, and I will start with a bit more news. Well, it's a follow-up really from last week's sort of big news to do with Sasha Banks and Naomi. There's not a lot of other stuff around this week, so I thought we would just briefly chat about the latest on them. So it was actually on SmackDown that Michael Cole revealed that Naomi and Sasha Banks have been suspended indefinitely, and the tag team titles are going to be stripped from them for good, and they're going to have the bit that made me laugh, a women's tag team tournament to crown new women's tag team champions, which, considering there's two teams on the roster, is going to be a small tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think this might be a real opportunity for them to possibly bring some people from NXT.
The rumor I've heard is that they're going to use NXT teams in this tournament. Whether they keep them on the main roster or not, I don't know. But I think
Bit of
they'll
a
bulk it
trial, I
out.
guess, isn't it? I think it's a good idea because at one point when Sasha and Bailey had it, they actually floated over to NXT, didn't they?
They did. That was when there was one set of titles, though, I believe. There wasn't NXT tag titles then.
Oh, well, I completely forgot about that.
Because it used to go all brands, didn't it? And it was better. And then they ruined it by introducing NXT tag team titles, which I don't get why they ever did.
Yeah.
Because it's watered it down even further and made it even more silly.
I have a feeling out of spite, they're almost going to make this sort of better and really try with this.
They might do. They might well do.
Just on purpose. Something that I've been thinking about recently and read a few things about is I honestly think in this instance, because they are obviously going quite heavy on them. They are, I mean, being suspended indefinitely, taking all the merch off the site. Bear in mind, Sasha Banks is probably one of their biggest female selling merch stars.
Absolutely. And Naomi sells a lot of merch as well with the glow stuff.
Big deal, isn't it? It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I honestly think if AEW wasn't around, they'd have been fired. I honestly think they'd have made that much of an example. I think that AEW they're there waiting to take these two massive stars. So if they release them, it's quite interesting that Naomi's contract is apparently up very soon as well.
Yeah, whether they freeze it or not because they've been suspended, I don't know if they can do that. But yeah, it is interesting. It's funny you mention AEW because my thoughts were that if they fired them, they might not go to AEW, but because the women's division's not exactly got loads of effort put into it over there, and it's one. I think Sasha Banks would almost feel too big for their women's division. And I have heard that the rumor I've heard is that she's, almost feeling like she doesn't want to be because she's got her acting role in it's the Mandalorian, isn't it? And
definitely,
she's definitely got acting. What's the word?
Definitely
Dreams.
Give it up and be very successful.
I think eventually that's her route anyway. So I think if she did leave WWE, she might eventually end up in AEW and do some matches like one-off appearances, big, pay-per-view match maybe. But I don't think she would necessarily go there and work every week and wrestle on Dark Elevation.
That makes sense, but I think possibly Naomi would definitely be a steal for AEW.
She would be a great asset for them.
You've also got that danger that she also has the contacts of Jimmy.
I think the Usos and Roman Reigns are too embedded in
definitely,
WWE.
But it's that doorway into that family,
I think that's another reason why they weren't fired as well. You mentioned AEW being around, but I think the fact that Jimmy Uso would have been fuming probably, and then that would have had an effect on Roman Reigns, and you just can't be doing that.
No.
So I think that also had a big effect on it as well. But I did find it interesting when Michael Cole was reading it out. Did you sort of notice Pat McAfee's reaction to it?
No, I wasn't.
He looked like he wanted to be anywhere else but there whilst they were reading this out.
Really?
Almost like he was like, I don't want to be a part of this whole mess.
It is messy, isn't it?
And apparently he didn't know about it until it was read out. He said on his podcast the other day he didn't know about it until it was read out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, I think he was a bit like,
it's a real awkward situation for some of these guys on the outside. So like the commentators and things like that.
Yeah.
Some of them obviously may feel strongly and they completely agree with WWE, but others
Won't. Yeah,
won't,
that's the
and
problem.
they'll still have to say it, which is a bit of a strange one. But
I've just never seen them erased. Like the starting credits, the WWE bit where it has all the superstars. I don't know if you noticed, but Sasha Banks has been edited out of that as well.
Wow.
She's been replaced by Cody, of all people, as well. So yeah, they've really gone to like not quite erase her from history because they've mentioned her on TV, like because they've said she was suspended, but they've definitely ignoring it as if she's.
Do you think that's it? Do you think they're going to come back? I know it's indefinitely.
I have a feeling I think Naomi definitely will.
Yeah.
Sasha, I don't know. It could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Naomi may sit this out. She may go out of contract, and then WWE will eventually offer her a new deal. She'll probably come back because of Jimmy. Because of they'll offer her a good deal, I still reckon. And then Sasha may, I don't know. It depends. I don't know how long Sasha has on her deal. If she has like 2-3 years left, then she'll have to. They'll do a Mustafa Ali situation where she sits at home for a few months, and then maybe they'll bring her back to TV. I have heard some people say maybe they'll leave them off TV to the end of the tag team titles. They'll create new champions, then they'll come in as like heels and attack them or something like that. They'll work an angle around it.
That could be really clever, actually.
But we'll see.
Or they enter like in like full body suits, so you can't see who they are.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. We still don't have any statements from them, do we? So we don't know what.
Not at all. They've been very quiet. There's been pictures of Sasha out and about partying, not really caring.
Really?
She's just enjoyed herself. Naomi though has been very, very quiet. Most of the noise really has come from other wrestlers and other people. People sharing pictures of Sasha and Naomi of support, or people saying stuff against them, whatever. Mostly support, in all honesty. But it's just an interesting situation, and I think every week we're probably going to hear a little bit more about it until either they leave or they return, one way or the other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, interesting times, and although it's not a very nice situation, I look forward to seeing how it progresses.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Should we head straight on to SmackDown then? Yeah,
so moving on from that, we'll talk about SmackDown itself. And a rare thing here, I'm going to start the podcast with a top mark. SmackDown hasn't had too many of those.
Celebrate.
But I have to give the main event and the closing angle of SmackDown 2 thumbs up, top mark, standard. It was very, very good. I was very cynical, and we all were on the podcast last week, I think, when they announced this match as happening on SmackDown, the title unification match. We all said it smells like DQ, doesn't it? It's got Roman coming in and attacking Arcade Bro all over it, and it ended in a DQ, and then maybe going to Hell in a Cell and us having the next match there. But no, that didn't happen. We actually got a proper match with not a clean finish, but a finish. A good finish as well. I thought protected Arcade Bro in defeat, made the Usos look good. Then you've got the vision of the 6 belts, which is a crazy powerful image. Like, you don't get that very often. I know we had Omega with all his belts and of the Young Bucks at times in AEW, you get that kind of thing. But I love that when you get those draped in gold bits. But not only that, it was the beatdown afterwards. They absolutely destroyed Orton and Riddle into the steps. There was a guillotine on Riddle, and then Orton ended up passing out, didn't he? Jay did a splash, didn't he?
That
for a table.
Massive splash. That was crazy. Off the turnbuckle through the announce desk.
Yeah.
It was for SmackDown. This was incredible.
Yeah. The match itself was pretty good, but it was also the angle surrounding it and the fact they actually did it that I loved, because I thought they were going to not do it. Although, I don't know how you felt, but when I was watching the show, the more I was watching it and the more they were talking about it, and Heyman was making it sound so important, I kind of thought they might actually do it, because they were advertising, they were going in so much on it. I was like, if they end this with a DQ, there is going to be some serious salt.
It's good it wasn't a DQ. There was some interference, wasn't there?
Yeah, because they came out at the start of the show. So the Bloodline also opened the show, didn't they?
Yeah.
Roman said a few words, but he handed over to Paul Heyman, listed a few people that Roman was better than. And interestingly, he did say The Rock's name. because I think that is something that will come down the line. I think everyone's expecting that. But yeah,
they also
Roman
said that if the Usos don't win, they're off the island. Or
yes, island of relative, and that was one of the moments where I thought, okay, they're going to do a finish here, because if they don't come home with, he basically said, if you don't come home with all the titles, the bloodline's over. So why would he DQ it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't make any sense for him to do that. So, and then they kept promoting it throughout the show. And I actually thought maybe we will get a finish, and we did. So I'm glad they delivered on that in the end.
And the end angle that you said was just so effective. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but you had some fans crying. It was absolute carnage. They were I love an angle
where you get kids crying at the end of it.
You know it's effective, don't you? There was some real shock. There's just like people, fully grown men with their like mouths wide open, as they couldn't believe it. To be honest, it was savage how much of a beat down they put.
Yes, and
it just elevates them so much, doesn't it? Just to that rebound. It's just going to be incredible when RK Bro sort of come back at it.
Yeah, and it was a good way as well, which I didn't realize at the time, but a good way to write Orton off TV for a bit, because obviously he wasn't on Raw on Monday.
Yeah,
and it seems like he's got a bit of an injury, carrying a bit of an injury, I think some back problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a serious injury where he's going to be out for a certain amount of time, but it gives him time to recover.
Rest, yeah.
If they're not having a match at the pay-per-view, Riddle can do some work for a couple of weeks, and then he can come back down the line. So I just thought this was fantastic for a SmackDown match.
Brilliant top mark. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I would have been top marking all over that as well if you hadn't have taken that one. But yeah, brilliant brilliant start and end to the show.
Yeah, the whole show was sort of built around it, wasn't it?
Again, just shows how powerful they are. The bloodline is just so good.
Yeah, because they do carry the show a little bit too much, but
but we enjoyed it.
There was some other good stuff on the show, though, I will say. Actually, I've just realised my skid mark may come from SmackDown as well. We'll get to that in a bit. But let's carry on the positivity for now and talk about, I thought the match between Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura, they had their second match in a few weeks. That was pretty good as well, I thought. And it played into Sami's character. He kept trying to win by count out. And then he nearly got counted out himself. And in the end, Nakamura won with a Kinshasa. As Sami got in on 9, he got in and hit him with it. So a pretty good match. And just a cool finish. And I love Sami representing the bloodline. We'll get to that when we get to Raw later. But I love the fact he's sort of sucking up to them. And one thing I did notice in as well was, obviously last week Riddle was on SmackDown and we mentioned it last week's podcast, called Sami Zayn Rusty. And the crowd were actually chanting Rusty at him again. So that actually has carried over a little bit.
Stuck.
Yeah. I mean, I hope WWE doesn't get ideas and change his name. But, But yeah, I thought that was good as well.
I'm not sure whether you'd agree, but I thought Corbin's promo was pretty effective.
Yeah,
he's gone full heel again. Even ended up smashing the Andre the Giant trophy.
That was the bit I liked about it, because we've not seen that before, really.
Very brave, wasn't it?
I don't know whether they're going to bring that back for next year's Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, or whether that's the end of that now and they're going to move on. I don't know. I have a feeling they'll just bring it back and act like it never happened in.
Well, I think 10
months or whatever.
The trophy. I don't think they have the same trophy, because I remember Corbin saying in a promo the other week, which I sort of noted down, that he has that trophy at home in his cabinet. So I think they just make a new one rather than pass it round.
Probably.
It was really effective, wasn't it? And it was good to actually see him doing some proper stuff again. He seems to work so much better as this sort of character.
Definitely. I've been more intrigued by this feud the last couple of weeks with the promos and the angle. Obviously, the injury angle last week.
Yeah.
With the trophy onto the chair, and this promo and his work here. I think they've done some good work the last couple of weeks with this feud to heat it up again, because after the first match, it's like, we do not need to see another one.
No,
now it has enough in it to continue the feud, so I'm happy with that.
That'd be good. And we had a rather strange debut of one of our favorites, actually, of LA Knight, who is now called Max Dupree.
Yeah, they love the free syllable. He's still got the free syllable name, the Max Dupree, but like
Yeah.
LA Knight. But
I love
this
it.
felt a
I
bit.
love the name LA Knight. I just wish they hadn't done
And the
that.
strange thing about this is normally they're changing the names because it's either their real name and they want them to change it, like Tommaso is Tommaso Ciampa's real name, so they just shortened it to Ciampa, and same with Austin Theory. Or it was the name they used on the Indies before, or another company. LA Knight was called LA Knight in NXT. They changed it to LA Knight. So he came in as he was Eli Drake in Impact. Then he was
okay. I thought
then
he
was
was
LA
LA Knight for some
No,
reason.
so he was Eli Drake before. Again, the free syllable name that you can say like that. And then WWE changed it to LA Knight. So I was a bit confused why they bothered changing it again, but whatever. However, I was happy to see him, and the name isn't going to affect anything with him. He is so good.
I suppose we've seen with Gunter, really, when we went in on that name change, but really, we've all got used to it now, and it hasn't made any odds, has it?
It's the same with every name change. You get used to it after a few weeks, and it just completely, it just ends up being completely irrelevant.
Max Dupree.
And I feel, I saw some people sort of saying, "Oh, he's a model manager thing." That's kind of, but we kind of knew that was coming from what we'd seen on the dark segments on SmackDown and heard about. So I wasn't surprised by that. And I'm intrigued as to who he's going to. What I want to see is who's in his. I'm pretty sure Mace is going to be one of his people because he's worked a lot with him. So we may get a bit more Mace on SmackDown, which I'm intrigued to bring in new people with him. That's what I want to see. I don't want him to necessarily manage. I don't know who you could use on the SmackDown roster, but Ricochet or someone that we already get a lot of. I think him introducing people we haven't seen much on SmackDown or even call-ups from NXT and using them as in this role, it could be interesting. And LA Knight is such a good talker that he can make this work. I'd like to see him still wrestle every now and then, but I'm willing to give this the benefit of the doubt and see where it goes.
I'm still excited to see him on the main roster, and I just hope he gets used frequently in ring and on promos because he is great. And to be honest, he's got the look. I don't know why they wouldn't like him.
Yeah, and he's an amazing talker, but we've seen it before where you think they have all the tools that Vince would love
for a start.
He's one that even people like Keith Lee, like you'd think Vince is going to love a big guy like that can move, and he just didn't. Like he did for a while, and then something changed. So that's the problem, So also on SmackDown, we got Raquel versus Shotzi. This was quite a short little match. One thing I didn't expect to see was she did like a corkscrew splash off the top rope, Raquel. I've not seen her doing stuff like that before.
No, that was pretty cool to be fair.
So that was cool. And we said last week, hopefully they follow up and keep her winning matches on TV, so they build her up. And we are getting that with her at least. So hopefully they continue to do that.
I'm loving the Raquel stuff. I'm just again a little bit disappointed that they haven't used Shotzi properly.
Yeah.
I don't get it because she's so unique and she's good that you could really make a star out of her. I think people would absolutely love to be a fan of Shotzi.
I don't understand why they took the tank thing away as well, because that could have been a merch. I think that could have been a merch seller. You could sell little action figures with the tank.
I'd buy a little tank.
Yeah, it's a weird one. But yeah, they seem to have made it. I know you said she's quite unique, but they've made her more normalized, haven't they? She just feels like she's there now, and that's kind of annoying because she is unique. She's got a very unique look, a unique sort of personality, and even the way she wrestles is quite different. So. Yeah, I agree with you. They need to showcase her a little bit more.
But at least Raquel's getting some form of a push.
Raquel should be in a top position.
Definitely, yeah.
Without doubt. Right, shall we get skiddy?
Go on then.
So this feud is so up and down, man. I've given it my skid mark a couple of times. Then I come around to it and was like, I love it because they had a couple of good matches. But we're back to square one with Woods and Butch. Just why are they continuing this for so long? And
I just don't think they've got enough people to.
So Woods has faced Butch 3 times now in singles matches, and all 3 times he's won by roll up. Now I know they're turning this into a finisher, aren't they? They're using it. They're calling it the backwoods, and Xavier Woods has almost got. It's kind of funny because it's like he's taken the roll up and used it as a finisher because it wins loads of matches. I kind of like the idea of it in a way, but the fact he keeps winning against Butch with it, I don't like.
No.
So I thought we were getting there when we had the match with Kofi. We had the good tables match. One interesting thing to come out of it is afterwards, Woods did do a promo and said, it's always the numbers game with these guys because they beat Woods up afterwards. Kofi wasn't there. He was away for some reason. Not really sure why. So he got a 3-1 beatdown afterwards. And he said, next week, we're going to have a tag team partner that they're not going to like to partner up and take them on in a 6-man tag team match. So that left a bit of an intrigue for me. But the rest of it, I didn't like this week at all. And it was back to square one. And the wrestling was fine. It was decent enough, but it was just the way they finished it again with the same thing. And
you know how I feel about roll-ups. I don't like them anyway. And
when it's the same person involved,
it's just boring, isn't it? I've kind of become a bit numb to this feud now that I hadn't even made any notes on it. That's how sort of switched off I've become. So I can't disagree with you skid marking it at all. But what do we think about this person? Surely it can't be Big E this early.
It's not Big E. No, he's definitely not. He's still got broken. It's definitely not him. So I've seen a couple of suggestions online. I think the person is going to be the obvious person, which is Drew McIntyre. He said he's going to be back at SmackDown this week. He's been on this UK tour promoting Clash at the Castle. He has history with Sheamus and Butch and more Sheamus than any of the others. But I can see it just being Drew as a way to bring him back in.
Yeah, definitely. Good idea.
I'm hoping that it's someone else. I want Drew to be on the show and I want him to be back on the TV. But I would rather see someone surprising. I saw a couple of people saying maybe they could bring Cesaro back.
What about
Cesaro and Sheamus?
What about Dojakovic?
Yeah, I mean, he would be great.
That'd be awesome.
I saw somebody suggest maybe Tyler Breeze because he's friends with Xavier Woods and he's back working for. He's not working for WWE, but he's I showed you a thing earlier. Actually, they're working on Up, Down, Down, which is owned by WWE. So Breeze is back working, in a sense, with WWE, just not as a wrestler. But I don't think it's going to be any of them. I think it'll be Drew. I just think it makes sense for it to be Drew.
Yeah. Oh well, I look forward to that anyway.
It can't be Big E. So I'd love him to come back this quickly, but that would take some superhuman effort for him to manage that. Was there anything else from SmackDown before we move on?
Nothing I had. No, I think
no. There was Gunter and Gulak again. Actually, that was okay.
Yeah.
And Ricochet. The one thing actually to note was Ricochet did make the save from Gulak and beaten down afterwards. So I think we are getting Gunter versus Ricochet, which last week we all said, we all wanted to happen. So that's good.
That'd be a good match, actually.
I hope they do that at a pay-per-view. There's at the moment, so there's 4 matches confirmed for Hell in a Cell, and they're all Raw side. Mm-hmm. There's no SmackDown matches whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
So there's got to be something from SmackDown, and the Intercontinental title just hasn't been on pay-per-view. So do Gunter versus Ricochet, why not? That's what I would do anyway.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think that'd be brilliant.
So let's move on to Raw.
Raw is War.
Do you want to start with something from Raw?
Yeah, but this is where we mentioned earlier, we had the Riddle promo, didn't we? Which was really good, actually, really enjoyable, mentioning that Randy's injured. It was quite interesting that he said that he's not sure if RK Bro's going to return. I really can't see him not returning, to be honest.
I don't think they can just end it like that.
It's too big. It's too big for them. I mean, I think this would have ended a long time ago if it didn't kick off as much.
What I think they'll do is they'll end it they'll end up as a tag. They'll end as a tag team in terms. I don't think they'll go for the tag team titles anymore. I think we're done with that. But the strong rumor has been that we're going to get Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. So I think we may get Riddle v Reigns first.
Yeah. With
Randy supporting Riddle still as RK Bro.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at Money in the Bank. Surely they've got to do a title match at Money in the Bank because we haven't had one at Backlash, or Hell in a Cell, have they? Roman hasn't defended the title. So I think he'll defend the title against Riddle because Riddle is going to be pissed that he injured Orton. And then Orton will come back and face Reigns at SummerSlam. That's what I think we're going to get. But they'll still be aligned. But I just don't think they'll be going for the tag titles anymore.
That sounds good.
Which is
Good
fine.
idea.
I'm fine with them not going for the tag titles because there's other teams that we need to face the Usos now.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen it for a long time, haven't we? I can't get out of my head that one day these two are going to split and they're going to face each other.
Yeah, but I think they should wait till like WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, that breakup I think needs to come at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, something like that. And one of them could even be champion or something. They don't need it. It might not need a belt, but it should be a big deal when it happens.
Yeah. Well, that's a definite written WrestleMania feud, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Huge. Yeah, absolutely huge.
So that led to a 6-man tag team match, which was a bit of a random one.
Yeah, this was strange, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Riddle with Street Profits versus the Usos and Sami Zayn. The Usos and Sami Zayn work, so doesn't it? Because he's like their little mate, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like the guy they bring in to cause trouble and basically get beaten up for them.
Yeah.
And just spy on people, which I love. I love that role for Sami Zayn. But Riddle and Street Profits was a bit odd because Street Profits and RK Bro felt like they were against each other for a while.
Yeah, they've sort of turned from maybe going heel just to straight basic.
Yeah,
haven't they?
I don't really get where they were going with that direction in the end. But we got a really good 6-man tag here. And in the end, the Usos left Sami Zayn, didn't they, in the ring on his own to take the pin from Riddle. It was Riddle, wasn't it? Yeah, he hit an RKO to win. Yeah. So I do think they're going to build Riddle now as a singles wrestler. He's had a pin over Sami Zayn, and I think that's what we're going to get. Maybe him versus Reigns at Money in the Bank, like I say, and he'll get a few singles wins now before Orton maybe comes back at Money in the Bank or just before Money in the Bank. Because I think that's the next pay-per-view. I'm pretty sure it is.
After Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. After Hell in a Cell, yeah.
Which is next Sunday, is it?
Next Sunday, yeah. So we've got Double or Nothing this week.
Yeah.
Hell in a Cell, and I think in your house.
Is it in your house the same weekend? Or
I think so. Yeah.
So listen out for lots of predictions.
3 pay-per-views in like 8 days, I think it is.
Oh, wow. Predictions coming your way.
Yeah. So there will be predictions coming up. We'll mention that later, but in more detail. What's the next thing to mention from Raw?
Lashley challenging MVP to a match to decide the stipulation. This bit did make me laugh.
Yes.
Just the way MVP was like, you've already faced Omos. Why do you want to do it again? And he's like, no, you. It
was funny actually, because last week I remember saying on the podcast, was there a thing for a Lashley challenge next week? Did I see something or did I make it up? And you guys are like, no, I think you did make it up.
We thought you'd made it up.
I was bloody right after all. Just want to point that out. I did see it. I wasn't seeing things. So yeah, that was then this week. And obviously Lashley then like made the challenge for MVP. MVP accepted. And then we got the match later on, didn't we?
Yeah, it was an okay match.
It was never going to be great because MVP is
he had to win, really, didn't he, to follow this on?
Yeah, there was no reason for it otherwise. And yeah, obviously he beats him by count out. Yeah, lucky win for MVP. Almost getting involved a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
But
he won because he just started attacking Omos, didn't he? So,
and it means
suddenly forgot that there was a count going on.
What's confusing about this picking a stipulation thing is the pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell, yeah? So if it's a stipulation other than a Hell in a Cell match, I'll be confused. What else can they do?
It makes sense to put it in a cell just because they broke a cage. So,
but then if MVP's picking it, he's not going to want a stipulation where he can't get involved.
Maybe Hell in a Cell where MVP is special guest referee.
Yeah, mate. Maybe. I mean, it's a bit too similar to what they just did on Dynamite with MJF, and
I know. Yeah,
it could be seen as copying that. But then also you could argue MJF they were copying the Miz angle from 2 weeks ago. So whatever. I don't think WWE or AEW really care about copying each other at this point. But
no,
you could be right. That could be what they do. Because otherwise, I don't know what MVP is going to pick. Really,
No, it'd be interesting to see, won't it?
Yeah, it will. So what was next
The
on
Judgment
Raw?
Day promo,
Yeah.
which I thought was absolutely savage. Judgment Day, just incredible, aren't they?
Yes, although I will say I wasn't as keen on this promo as I have been on the previous couple. There were bits to it I really liked. The only thing I don't like is the sort of standard you people in the crowd, you all sheep, that
Lazy
kind of thing.
asses sat in the cubicles eating Cheetos.
That was a funny line.
Keeney,
but...
that's what Keeney's doing tonight. Sat in his cubicle eating Cheetos.
Yeah.
I wish I had some Cheetos.
Same here. And a cubicle. No, just the Cheetos.
No, it's not a toilet cubicle.
No, if I was recording it from there, it'd be a bit weird.
While eating Cheetos.
I
understand what you mean, though. Yeah. It is
that.
quite cheap, isn't it? It's a cheap.
It feels
tactic.
A bit generic.
He got some serious booze though.
And weirdly, it's actually the Edge bits that are doing that. The rest, I think Priest's bit was good.
Yeah.
Rhea's bit as well. She was very focused on Liv. What I did, the bit about Edge I did like was when he listed potential names for the group who he'd like to add, and then he really went to AJ at the end. But he mentioned a few people. He mentioned Alexa Bliss, Tommaso Ciampa, Corey Graves, which was interesting because he has been cleared to wrestle. So that would be something if he got up during a match off the commentary desk and started attacking people because he was joining. That would be cool. Finn Balor, obviously, because they're feuding with him. Drew McIntyre was really random at one out of left field, and he even pointed that out himself. Edge, he was like, "You weren't expecting that one, were you?" And then he mentioned obviously AJ at the end, and sort of had a direct message to him that it's going to be a lot easier for AJ to join the group rather than keep getting beaten up by them every week. So that was good, and then we got a cool mixed tag match.
This was great. I love it when they do something different like this out of nowhere. In fact, I really enjoyed this match. Had some brilliant tandem offense, like AJ throwing Liv into the air, into Rhea.
Yeah.
I thought Liv was looking awesome in the ring. I always praise Rhea. She's fantastic in the ring, and obviously we know AJ.
And I think Priest and Rhea as well they're really good friends in real life. So
okay.
I knew they were a little group. Rhea used to post a lot of pictures. Them two and Riddle, they're all like a little group obviously from NXT are in there at the same time. They all got on really well. So they have quite good chemistry as well already.
Yeah.
Priest and Edge as well. Their double move that they did after the match, I love that.
So good.
So that was all really good. And the interesting thing is, what did you make of? So after the match as well, a 3-on-2 beatdown, and Finn Balor didn't come out and help.
That was strange. I was expecting him to come out. I didn't really read too much into it. I thought, well, maybe he's just having a week off.
Yeah, it might have just been he wasn't at Raw, but it could also be story related. And next week we might have AJ say, "Look, where the hell were you?"
I've said it so many times. I would love Finn to join Judgment Day and be like a demon on demand. I think it would just be mad to be able to do that. Almost like a pet. So he's like a pet demon. I just think that would be quite a cool angle to use because they've kind of ruined the demon now by the Roman Reigns rope.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you might as well go crazy with it and just bring him out loads because it's going to be good for ratings, isn't it? So people are going to love it. And you could do some real interesting stuff with it. Just having him sat on like round the ring, like being demony. I just think it's a really cool utilization of that character where you could use it all the time. So, but
definitely.
What about you? What do you think is going to happen with that?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I've been saying since the start of this really that Balor will turn on AJ and join them, but I don't know. I really don't. I don't think we're going to see AJ turn and join them. I just think AJ being in a faction where he's not at the front of it wouldn't be great for him.
No.
But I think Balor, it could work for. It's interesting he listed a load of people. That makes me think those people aren't going to join Judgment Day, if Edge mentioned them. But you never know. Because I thought Ciampa was definitely going to be a shoe-in.
I think he would be a brilliant brilliant shout, and I think he would be elevated by it.
100%, yeah, because
But
he's not
he
really
could do
doing
with it.
anything. Yeah, well, he wasn't even on the show this week, so I'd rather him be
Worrying
involved in
times.
something. Yeah, I'd rather be him be involved in something, because otherwise I can see it not going well for Ciampa, to be honest. If he's just left on his own, I feel like he'll just be a generic mid-card heel that just loses matches.
Which is crazy.
Because he's
How
so
can
good.
you go from being the top of your game to doing nothing? It's just insane.
Yeah, I know. So the next segment, something I thought I'd never see, Jerry the King Lawler hosting a chat with Veer Mahan. What a strange combination to put together.
Yeah, I'm surprised because I know we saw the King the other week, didn't we? Because he was in his hometown.
Yeah,
and I
he's
thought
been
that
back
was
a few
just
times.
sort of a one-off, but no.
Well, he signed a new contract a couple of months back with WWE, a Legends contract. So maybe they're just trying to get some use out of him. They're paying him.
Yeah,
they pay a lot of these Legends and they just keep them at home. Like, there's so many people on Legends contracts they don't use. So they obviously thought, you know what, we might as well get him in. To be honest, he's not someone I really care about seeing.
No.
At all. But it did work in the sense of he was basically used for someone to put over that Veer is really scary.
Yeah.
Because Veer, obviously, he said a few words for once.
Yeah.
But he got angry with him, didn't he? And then the Mysterios come out and saved him, basically.
619. Yeah, so we're going to carry on with that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Pick up where we left off.
I thought Jerry Lawler had turned into Madcap Moss at one point because he was telling some terrible jokes as well.
He always has done, hasn't
he? Yeah. But at Veer as well. I was like, you're a brave man. But yeah, we actually heard Veer speak. I like Veer, but yeah, this was a bit random.
Just waiting to see how this needs even to be used a little bit more. They're going to get more from him, I think, now the Mysterios are back.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens with that.
Yeah. I forgot as well. I did write on my notes. It's funny because Joe the King Lawler messed up a line as well, where he was meant to say the Mysterios. You put the Mysterios on the shelf or something.
He said the Dominics.
He said the Dominics.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was funny. I did laugh at that too.
Yeah, I didn't know if anyone else.
Yeah, I did notice the Dominics.
You did.
Yeah, it was funny. I hadn't remembered till you said that.
Yeah. But yeah, the Mysterios come out and eventually got the better of Veer for a bit 2-on-1, and then Veer kind of backed away. So that was that segment. Then we got Alexa Bliss versus Nikki ASH, which was just another win for Bliss.
Yeah, I didn't think too much of that, to be honest.
No, it was okay.
Unfortunately,
she's just having quick squash matches to get her back onto the show. That she's winning. I think they're going to use her. Good. I can see her being. I don't think she will necessarily win Money in the Bank because she has already had that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's definitely going to be put in the match and used and
I think she should be. She's a
push strong going into it. And yeah, this was okay. It was nothing special. Bliss won with a Twisted Bliss. The noticeable thing before was she was talking about Sonya Deville and said that she should get therapy as it works, which I found quite funny because Alexa Bliss had that before. So I think I think we said last week we weren't sure if that feud was going to continue between Bliss and Deville, but I think it will. I think we're going to get more out of that. Then we got
a big boy match, wasn't it? Well,
yes,
not big boy, but a big match.
Yeah,
so Cody versus the Miz, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which was not too bad, but I guess really it was the angle, wasn't it? I mean,
I kind of thought they were going to do that this time because Cody and Miz already had a match previously, and I thought they would just use this to have Seth cause a DQ. Seth also cut a promo on Cody before this. But what I loved, the bit I loved, and I'm sure you're going to agree with this, was Seth stealing the belt off the kid.
Yes, that was amazing.
That bit was fantastic, and then whipping him with it. Cody as well ended up giving it back to the kid to show how how great he is and how respectful he is.
What a nice face he is.
Yeah, but I love the Rollins bit with him. Cody always gives his belt on the rent to a kid, and Rollins just takes it off of him.
What a savage beatdown it was as well.
It was, yeah. So this was.
Seth looked angry.
Yeah, the angle in the match was kind of predictable and nothing special, but that bit was cool.
I just still wish they'd not let Cody win
Yeah, I know.
that last match, because it just is weird. Unless
Because
Seth's
Cody even
gonna
mentioned
win.
his promo, didn't he? That Rollins is just worried that I'm going to be 3-0 against him, and I was like, yeah, I would be as well if I was Seth.
I think
Losing
he might.
3
I think
matches
Seth
is-
might win. We've discussed it many times, but I think Seth might win this just so Cody can do the chasing.
Be
Putting
interesting.
him 3-0 against Seth just doesn't seem. Well, if one, it just pushes Seth right down. I think because he's just lost too many times now, and I think Cody just winning against him. The only way you can go from beating Seth 3 times in a row is to a title
Yeah,
straight away, which I think's
too soon.
yeah. It's tough. It's a really tough one, but it seems silly to have him beat Seth 3 times in a row. I just don't get it.
I agree with you, but I can see it happening.
I think you could do something far more interesting if he loses and tries to grow himself back to the top.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Because in AEW he was brilliant when he was chasing.
Mm.
I mean, he was a good champion too. I mean,
he was a good
he
champ.
was a very good fighting champion, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I mean, you could even have an angle where he loses to Seth, so he says, "Right, I know I'm not there yet for the world title, so I'm going to go for the
United States
US title or something like that." Which could
I
be
think
quite cool.
I think he's going to try, and regardless of what happens, I think he's going to be in the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah, all the Money in the Bank to
and he'll
rise himself back up again.
That's what I think he's
That's a
going
good
to do.
angle.
Because obviously I can't see him not being in that match. Whether he wins it or not, I don't know. But he is surely going to be in the Money in the Bank match. So then we got a quick match. Ezekiel and Gable, they've had a few now. Ezekiel got a roll up win, nothing special there at all.
No.
The only thing to note really was KO basically said he's had enough of it and he wants to fight him at Hell in a Cell. So finally getting the match between KO and Ezekiel at least. And it's on pay-per-view, which is quite cool.
I think we're going to get this match, and then I think we're not going to see Ezekiel. I think that's what's going to happen.
Quite possibly. It would be quite funny if he got found out that he is Ezekiel after all this and Kevin Owens was right, and then he disappears and comes back as a light. Yeah. I don't know if that's what the route they're going to do, but surely they can't just. Well,
I mean, he's good in ring, so it could be quite a good match. To be fair,
I think it'll be decent. But I'm intrigued as to where it's going to go after this match. What they do with KO really needs a bit more than a little mid-card comedy feud. I think at the moment, I think he proved with the whole Austin stuff at Mania that he's one of the top guys, and even before that, as well with Seth, that he should be a bit like Rollins. You were saying, should be losing 3 matches in a row. Owen should also be at the top of the card, in my opinion, going into this. I wouldn't mind seeing KO win Money in the Bank, to be honest. Did you know it's been 6 years since he held a title in WWE of any kind?
It's incredible, isn't it?
That is
absolutely incredible. I mean, he's won some big feuds, but
he's always in the main event spot. He gets title matches. He's in big feuds. He gets a good spot, and I'm sure he's under new deals. So he's obviously happy. But yeah, God, 6 years without a title run of any kind. I mean, he should be getting some sort of title run soon, even if it's the US title as a heel.
Again, though, he's such a good person that he almost doesn't need it, does he?
Yeah, he is.
Sometimes people get spoiled by a title.
He doesn't need one, but it's just a long time. Then there was just the main event, I think, after that, which was a match of significance. So earlier in the night, Becky made a case that she should have the match with Bianca Belair because Asuka obviously used the mist the week before.
Yeah.
So Pierce gave her a rematch and she won. And so we're getting the triple threat now at the pay-per-view, which I think we all kind of said might happen a couple of weeks ago. I think Keeney definitely predicted it last week. But yeah, this was a good match, but the first one was better, I think.
Yeah, it was a good match. I must say the last bit looked terrible to me. You had Oscar hit Bianca, didn't she, by accident? Outside the ring. And then Oscar rolled into the ring after barely being hurt at all, but then just carried on lying face down until Becky came over and rolled her up. I think they mistimed it, but it looks terrible. I could understand if Oscar had a proper beat down outside, but she hadn't. was like one punch. And she was stood up, rolled into the ring to beat the count out, and then just got rolled up. It was a bit. I didn't like the end. It ruined the match a little bit.
The ending wasn't particularly great. I preferred the week before where they used the mist and it was cool.
Yeah.
And I thought the match was better. And I think it was given more time as well, which helped it. But interesting thing I saw earlier, Asuka has actually main evented the last 4 Raws in a row, which is some feat really, especially for a woman, because they don't main event Raw all that often. So for her to have 4 main events in a row is pretty impressive, I think. But yeah, I think that's about it from Raw.
Yeah, not too bad a show. So
I thought it was decent enough. Yeah, NXT then. So where do we go with that? Where do we even begin with NXT?
Oh, all over the show, wasn't it?
Should we start with the main event?
Yeah, why not? So Duke Hudson versus Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It
ended in weird red dressed guys attacking Breaker, and then he just loses the plot, doesn't he?
Yes. It plays into the story because obviously the stipulation at the pay-per-view is Joe Gacy if Braun Breaker gets disqualified, Joe Gacy wins the title, and he got disqualified here by losing his temper. And he's been trying to wind him up. He showed throughout the night, he had that picture on his locker room of his family when he was a kid and doing things to wind him up throughout the night.
He is a good character. I won't deny that. He's very good at what he does.
It's just wrongly placed on the show, I think.
Yeah, I'm just not keen on it. It's just a bit. We've gone from like proper hype, haven't we, to like a really weird. I guess it's showing a broad spectrum of what Braun can do, which in a way, it's more main roster focused, I suppose, isn't it? This sort of storyline.
Yeah, it does feel like it's something on the main roster, and for me, it's not. We always hear this with these kind of feuds, but it's for me, it's not the kind of feud you want a title built around. Title should just be whoever the best person is to win the match. Yes, you can make it savage, but the way they're building this, I don't know. It's not really for me in terms of.
I can't say I'm enjoying it. I was just trying to justify it somewhat.
Yeah, the match was okay between Breaker and Duke Hudson, but like I said, it ended up with Braun accidentally hitting Duke,
smashing him in the head with a chair,
and smashed him in the head with a chair, which I get plays into the story. I get that. The story itself, I don't really like anyway. So, but it was okay.
A match I did actually really enjoy was the semi-final. Tiffany Stratton versus Fallon Henley.
Yes, so
I thought that was a smasher of a match.
The news obviously coming out of that was Nikita Lyons was injured. So she was replaced because Tiffany Stratton wasn't even in the tournament, was she? So it was meant to be Nikita Lyons versus Fallon Henley, and Nikita's actually injured, so she's pulled out of the tournament. And then so Fallon was doing a promo, and they were saying she's just got to buy to the final. She can go through to the final, and then Tiffany challenged her to a match. And then Tiffany won. So Tiffany, even though she wasn't in the tournament, is now in the final.
To be honest, she's such a good wrestler, isn't she?
Well, I'm glad they did something because I didn't just want Fallon to get a bye into the final, and it would have not been believable that she was going to win.
Because obviously Lyons was supposed to win that, wasn't
I think Lyons was obviously going to win that match. Lyons was probably favourite for the tournament, if not Roxanne Perez. So now you've got Roxanne versus Tiffany. I think that leaves a little bit open. I still think Roxanne's going to win, but
I think they see a lot in both of these superstars.
Yeah,
I think either of them could do very well. They're both good in ring. They've both got quite good personas. The only thing we're not too keen on is obviously Tiffany Stratton's character, but I think she's starting to tweak that somewhat. She's not as sort of intolerable as she was at the start.
She's adding moves to her moveset, Tiffany, every week that I'm impressed by.
She's really good.
There was one off the ropes. She just flip off the ropes. I know she does her finisher, which is like a cool sort of corkscrew thing. She did one off the ropes earlier in the match as well. And I was like, actually, she's pretty good. And then she does like cartwheels into the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's one of those, I've not been keen on her character, but when I watch her wrestle, she is getting better and she's actually impressing me. So yeah, I don't mind her at all. I like Fallon. And yeah, the other match, like you said, was it was Roxanne Perez versus Lash Legend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which was nothing special, and it was a sort of countered roll-up pin. Lash went to hit a powerbomb.
I thought that was quite good, and I'm the roll-up hater.
It wasn't a normal
I quite
roll up, was
liked
it? It wasn't just hitting a roll up. It was like a counter. It was like a almost like a code red counter move.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't.
that's
It
what
was
I quite
quite smooth
liked it.
looking. That was okay. It was fine.
But I think it just showed off Perez really.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a good final out of this. It's nice to see some.
Yeah, I'm disappointed for Nikita Lyons because I like her a lot, but
I don't think she's going to have a problem because I think everybody's
she's
enjoying
got
it, isn't she?
really popular.
Yeah.
She did an interview recently where she said after her debut, Drake followed her on Instagram or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. So like that, she's getting attention. Like, definitely. And I think they're big on her.
WWE will love that, won't they?
Yeah. So that tells you a lot. So that was the women's semi-finals. Yeah, there was also some other women's stuff on the show.
We had Alba Fire, didn't we?
Yes. We're big fans of Kaylee Ray.
Yeah,
anyway,
and I don't think this has spoilt her either, because sometimes when they change a character, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But actually, I think she's quite cool.
Well, the thing is with KLR is I didn't think she necessarily had an intriguing character before this.
No.
She was a great wrestler, but she didn't really have a character. She teamed up with Io, didn't she, for a while?
Yeah, yeah.
But she was just kind of there. She wasn't really. So this actually now has given her a little bit of a lease of life, I think. And yeah, she's awesome in the ring. She's without doubt one of the best women they have.
Good entrance as well now, isn't it? It's a really good entrance.
Yeah, better entrance. She's changed her look up as well. Her hair.
Yeah, she looks awesome.
She looked really cool. And yeah, a really good match. She wins with a senton. And I just think she should put the NXT title on her soon, the women's title on her. She should probably be the one. I know they might put it on like a younger person, like a Roxanne or someone, but I would put it on KLR first and then have someone else beat her. Because I think KLR should have a run and then move up to the main roster.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's definitely there. She could definitely do it.
So that was good. And then you've also got the situation with Mandy Rose. So Mandy Rose had a match with Indy Hartwell here. And then it ended up basically just turning into a brawl. Caden and Katana came down. Toxic came down. And that caused a distraction where Indy Hartwell ended up losing, getting kneed in the face by Mandy. Mandy won. So I don't think Indy's getting a title opportunity. Well, we know she's not because they set up the next challenger after Wendy Chu come out with a bag of balls.
Which wouldn't come out of the bag.
Yes,
which made me laugh.
And a hilarious line from Wendy Chu later on when she was talking to Kaden and Katana, where she said she loved putting a sack of balls in Mandy's face or something like that. And I was just like, can you imagine if a guy said that? it was a good line from Wendy Chu.
I'm not going to lie though, I can't say I'm really looking forward to this match.
No, I don't think it'll be.
Wendy Chu's okay, but
I like her as a character, but again, does it belong in the title picture?
No,
probably not.
It does.
No, and I think that's the issue. I would rather.
I'd rather see Alba Fire.
Yeah, I definitely would rather see Alba Fire. But yeah, so there's a lot of women's stuff as usual on NXT, and I like the fact they do push that. So we started the show with Malik Blade and Idris Enofe versus the debuting Stacks and Two Dimes. I can't remember. One's called Channing Lorenzo, I think, but that's their nicknames anyway.
I called them D'Angelo's men.
Yeah, I just called them that. Tony D's boys.
Yeah, that's it.
I thought for the first match, I thought they looked okay. I didn't think
I thought they looked all right,
special, but they looked okay. And they won with a cool finisher, I thought. They did like a double punch, knockout sort of punch, and then a double strike as well with a kick to win. After Legado distraction, we're still getting that feud continuing between Tony.
Massive brawl, wasn't there?
Yeah, and it looks like they're meeting at the pay-per-view. I think.
Yeah, it's quite cool.
Whether that's a match or I don't think it's a match. I think it's more of a
just going to be a backstage fight or something, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was all okay. Not really a lot else to say about that.
Yeah. I don't think there was too much more for NXT apart from Sanga absolutely destroying Wesley.
Yeah, Wesley. I'll tell you what though, I'll give Sanga credit because I thought we'd never see him again. I thought he looked quite cool here.
Yeah, I do like him.
His choke slam was awesome.
Yeah,
And Wesley helps by selling it like crazy because he's a smaller guy. But actually, Sanga, he offers. The thing is, NXT doesn't have a lot of big guys. It's got a lot of good tag team guys. It's got some, I mean, Braun's quite big. You know, they've got some big guys, but a lot of them are average.
they're not. He's so big though that
he offers something different to the roster.
he reminds me of Strowman in a way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I was quite a fan of Strowman.
Yeah. No, I know he was good for a while. He got stale, but that wasn't necessarily his fault. And interestingly, afterwards, Zion Quinn came in, and then Sanga protected Wesley. So I think we might get that going forward with Wesley sort of having Sanga. I know Grayson Waller was with Sanga before, so it sounds
I called him Wesley Blake.
Yeah, I thought you did, but I thought I will just move on from that because it's definitely not Wesley Blake.
It's my notes' fault. I don't know why I wrote that.
Never Forgotten Sons, clearly.
Yeah, I was a big Forgotten Sons fan, as you know. So
I know. Yeah, back in the day.
In NXT especially. Anyway, that digressed quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, there was a couple of other things just to quickly mention. So there was Von Wagner versus Ikemen Jiro. Wagner with a dominant win. And Sophia Cromwell actually spoke here a little bit and kind of held Wagner back as well. Mr. Stone was worried about Wagner having too many enemies. And then one other thing, did you see the little... Oh, so there was two other things, actually. Firstly, Hayes and Trick Williams in the Barbers, Cameron Grimes come in. I thought that was an okay segment. Little digs at each other. And then Cameron Grimes is going to face Nathan Fraser next week. That'll be a banger.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
And then did you see the video package for Giovanni Vinci?
Yes, I did.
Now,
debut or
rebrand? I thought it was a debut. And I was like, we don't need another new, like they keep just bringing in new people, not doing much with them. And another like cheesy Italian gimmick as well. I was like, what's going on with this? But I heard... I read an article. I don't know if it's legit, but this might be Fabian Eichner rebranded.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And he's amazing.
Yeah, he's so.
And we were gutted when he wasn't called up with Gunther because he's fantastic. So if he gets a solo run, I'm all for that because he's great.
He's
however,
incredibly in ring, isn't he?
They did show him, and I thought he had a bit. I thought this guy showed a bit of a beard.
I couldn't see him. I didn't see him. But
maybe
I missed it.
I thought it was only for a split second. So unless he's grown a beard. Which he might.
To be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if he has. I haven't seen it, but if he has like the stylish, just down the middle beard, because it was all about high end fashion, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. He might have got one. But it was It's a very it's a weird gimmick for him. But you know, it might be good. I just hope it is him and he doesn't get released or something because that was what I was worried about really with him because he's so good, and if he's not seen on NXT then in the next couple of weeks, but this might well be him. And like we said, Fabian Eichner is Italian, so it would make sense. And again, Fabian Eichner was a name he used. I think it might be even his real name. So they're going to change his name, aren't they? Because they changed Gunther, they changed Ludwig Kaiser from Marcel Bartel. So it would make sense. They don't like
people using the real names now, do they?
No, they don't.
Because they can carry that elsewhere, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So AEW time?
Yeah, definitely.
I probably shouldn't start with this, but the Gun Club segment. These guys just crack me up.
I don't think I even wrote the notes down for this.
Oh, they just make me laugh. They're enjoying what they're doing. But I like this sort of childish humor. They look at Billy Gunn and they're like, "What should we do, Papa?" And then he said "scissor party," which I still do not really understand where this has come from. But yeah. Anyway, that was a lovely way to get us into AEW Rampage, wasn't it? But we had I say debut, but I don't think he's going to stick around, of Big Damo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a one-off like the Big Castle, Morrissey.
Yeah. Is he signed somewhere else or?
No, he's been working a lot of shows. I follow him on Twitter, and he works a lot of shows. He's been working a lot of shows in the UK and in Europe, and in the States, obviously, because he's married to Nikki Cross. Yeah. So he goes. I think he works all over the place. I think he was meant to be doing some work for like Braun Strowman promotion as well.
Okay.
So he's been doing a bits and pieces, but I don't think he's assigned to any particular company. I think he's just going around wrestling where he can.
Took me a couple of seconds to figure out who it was because he's cut all his hair off. He's completely bald.
I've seen him on interviews and stuff recently,
so I know who he was.
Yeah, and I know his name's Damo as well because like I say I know
Big Damo.
Yeah,
but he had a match against.
And he looked really cool. He did some really cool stuff in it. It was a short match.
Yeah,
he got beaten very quickly, which again suggests he's probably not coming back.
Yeah,
because if you get beaten in 2 minutes by Sean Spears, that's not good.
I must say, Sean Spears, and I'll sort of come on to this in my Dynamite segment, has grown on me massively in this where they're actually using him.
He is a great worker.
He's a great wrestler. His entrance, I just think, is so sort of mysterious. I think it's really good. And it's a shame he hasn't been used. It was almost like when he hit Cody in the head with that chair. It ruined it. Although it gave him the chairman, it almost ruined his career a bit. I think that did hold him back.
Yeah. I think he's really good in the role he plays, which is basically MJF's just guy who goes out there and takes beatings for him.
Yeah.
And talks for him sometimes and says stuff. Yeah, he is. He's a very good talent. There's no doubt about that.
He won with the C4, which I think is a cool match. And to be fair, he's so powerful. Some of the guys he's hitting the C4 on.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to hit the C4 on him. I thought he might win.
Lads.
Like, I thought he might beat him by roll up or cheating or something. Yeah, hitting him with a chair.
Well, he did it to Bear something.
Bear Boulder.
Bear Boulder.
Not that name again.
They should have a new. They should have a new inductee and call him Bear Bum. Anyway,
so we got
the chairman can beat him and he can sit there.
So we got House of Black versus Dark Order.
Carry on.
Fuego del Sol. The immature humour coming out now, wasn't it? Jesus. So this was a really cool 6-man tag match, and I thought House of Black looked awesome here. And we officially got the setup for House of Black versus Death Triangle at Double or Nothing, which is going to be a banger of a match. But yeah, they look so cool here. Thought Buddy Matthews was actually the star of the match here. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, I really rate Buddy. He's going to be great. I want to see him really show off here. I really do. I don't think we've seen enough from him yet. I'm quite excited to see him really go for it. In fact, this match is just going to be insane. On paper, it is incredible.
Yeah.
It wasn't from this week, but watching Brody King, he's just so good in ring, and you don't realize how big he is. I think he's 6'8". He's huge. This has all the ingredients to be an absolute scorcher. Double or Nothing, doesn't it?
Yeah. We also had Statlander versus Red Velvet in the Owen tournament, which Statlander won by roll up, I think, in the end. But what I did note here is she did some Bianca Belair style power moves, lifting her above her head and pressing her down. I think she even did the step spot that Bianca did to Sasha. So, and Statlander's really impressive.
I really enjoyed this match. I've said it before. I rate Red Velvet as well. Yeah,
she is pretty good.
I think this was a really good match, actually. Statlander's changed her character properly now, hasn't she?
Yes. I know she's not with the best friends anymore.
No, that needed to happen. Also, she's not doing any alien gimmick at all.
No, because I didn't like
Red
that.
Velvet was mocking her. But yeah, she looks quite sort of evil and dark, I suppose, even though she is a face, which I think is quite cool. And and her wrestling's come on massively. So I look forward to sort of what's coming in the future. This ended in a beatdown, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, which Ruby Soho made the save, and then Jade came in, and then Anna Jay
from out of nowhere.
And they just did that to set up a match. Jade had to have a challenger.
That was so random.
Yeah,
which is a bit. I'm glad because I like Anna Jay, but I'm also a bit sad that she's had no.
And she's just going to get squashed by Jade, surely, like pretty much.
Yeah,
it might have a bit of offense.
She's a good wrestler.
Then we also had Brian and Mox versus Seidel and Dante Martin, which I thought was a really good match as well.
This was great, and I said showing off the younger guys, but really Dante's the younger guy. Matt Seidel isn't really, is he?
No, he's a veteran. He's a veteran.
Yeah, this was an awesome match.
Yeah, it was really good.
The only other thing of real note that I had, well, it was two actually. We had the Bucks offering the challenge to the Hardys for Double or Nothing, of course.
Yeah,
which we'll go on to talk about a bit more on Dynamite. And we had a video package for Hookhausen and Tony Nese, which it's a shame Keeney's not on here because I'd have loved to know his opinion because I thought both of these sort of teams were so good. I love the comedy segments. Obviously, Hookhausen's just hilarious anyway.
Yeah,
it's the way they do things. Like you'd see him like lifting the dumbbells, and he'd have like Danhausen would have like tiny little dumbbells. It's just real easy comedy, but really funny and just works so well. And the Nese, I thought Nese was brilliant with Mark Sterling. Yeah. And I never thought I'd enjoy Mark Sterling, but the fact that where they're like doing exercises and next minute he's squatting with him on his back. And I know Keeney's always been very quick to say all he is like a fitness guy, but I thought this worked so well. And this real odd tag match that we got out of nowhere
funny.
It's just great.
It's on the buy-in, isn't it? So it's not going to be a serious match that goes long, but it's going to be a bit of fun.
Yeah. Nice to see Hook doing something not serious.
Last week, I think it was last week, we were talking about Sterling being in the match and is he a wrestler? Because, we were like, is he just... And I said, I'm sure he can wrestle a little bit. So I looked it up and he's actually, I think he's got like 15 years wrestling experience. So he's going to be good then. Yeah, he's a trained wrestler at least.
He's going to be able to take the hits.
Yeah, he can at least take a bump, and he's not going to be beating up Hook, is he? Do you know what I mean?
That'd be hilarious.
He's going to be getting thrown around by Hook probably. So yeah, I think he's more than capable of doing that. I'm sure. So I think the match will be passable. I don't think Sterling and Danhausen will be doing a lot of the wrestling. I think they'll be providing comedy bits for Hook and Nese will work a fine match, I'm sure.
Definitely. Yeah, quite looking forward to that. It's a different element to the card, isn't it? But yeah, I just thought that video package was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really
I kind of want to watch it again.
Yeah, I might do that actually because I feel like may have missed little details in it as well.
It's funny. I highly recommend it. If anyone's listening, check out the Hookhausen Nese Mark Sterling promo from Rampage. It was just great.
So should we move on to Dynamite?
Yeah, which was their big Dynamite, because it was their 3rd birthday. I can't believe how fast that's come around.
Yeah, it has come around very quickly. And the roster and the show looks so different from what it did 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it's grown massively in terms of the level of wrestling on it.
I bet the bank account doesn't look as good.
The viewership hasn't particularly gone up, which I think they'll be a little bit disappointed by. But in terms of the star power of the show, and the guys you get on there every week now, it does feel like a big show every week. Yeah. So it started off.
I think I might go straight into a top mark actually.
Go for it.
So straight away, MJF coming out in that referee gear. I just thought he looked hilarious, like proper tight shorts.
Yeah,
like a designer style referee. He's absolute gold. MJF. He's just incredible, isn't he? But excuse me, we had quite a big opener. It was a cage match, Wardlow versus Spears, which is a big deal, and it's interesting to see how they were going to do this. But straight away, you've got the sort of foul play coming along because Wardlow's coming with his handcuffs on, and MJF playing up haven't got the keys.
Which Wardlow did to him, of course,
With the
against
ring,
CM Punk,
wasn't it?
with the ring, which I thought was a fantastic
Really
callback.
clever.
Yeah.
It's mad how long this has been going on. This sort of it's got to be about a year, hasn't it? We've been guessing
surely.
is Wardlow going to leave him, and we're finally coming to this sort of finale. But little things like I actually was quite surprised when Spears was like stomping on Wardlow, and he sort of broke them up, but then like went to beat down Wardlow himself, which I thought was just. It was clever because I actually thought he was being a bit of a proper referee for a second, but it didn't last long in it. But then basically Wardlow breaks out of those handcuffs, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then just starts to kick the hell out of Spears, which was pretty cool. And the end was obviously Sean Spears has his chair as the chairman, goes to hit Wardlow, misses and hits MJF.
Over the
it
head.
had everything.
He sold
match,
it brilliant.
Yeah. MJF hit the deck.
And obviously that meant a new referee got in the ring and counted for the Powerbomb Symphony for Wardlow.
That's it. And then all the security guards got destroyed.
Yeah, which always happens.
I like that. I'm not getting bored of it at all. This match had everything really for me. It had drama, had some wrestling, which was pretty good, but it was more the sort of different angles and the build up to it, which I thought was cool. I thought the image at the end was really awesome as well, with Wardlow stood on top of that cage.
Yeah.
Just cool.
He climbed up, didn't he? Because MJF got away, but
he was stood on that ramp, sort of like carrying.
Yeah, it was really good. I loved little bits in it, like MJF as well. When Wardlow hit a move on Spears, and MJF like went down really quickly to count, and then just laughed and didn't count. He was just laughing. He's like, "I'm not counting." And the low blow, of course, as well. He hit a low blow at one point.
Yeah, when he went for his first powerbomb.
Yeah. So there had a bit of everything, like you say. It was very sports entertaining, I would say.
It was sports entertaining.
It wasn't it wasn't a 5-star classic, but it was.
I mean, I wonder whether we will get a proper match.
I think MJF and Wardlow will be. Yeah, I think it will be.
Could be.
I do think we're going to get like the Spears factor interfering, a bit of shenanigans, but I think we're going to get a good proper match.
And when MJF wrestles,
when he wrestles on pay-per-view as well, all of his like big matches have been really good.
I remember the Jungle Boy one was insane. Probably about a year ago now, maybe more.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it was mad. I never forget that one. I might have to get skiddy straight away. Now I've been super positive. So it's not a huge thing, but the Jericho segment, I just didn't. Well, firstly, they like had a pretend flip knife, which I don't think is a good idea to be putting on TV, especially when quite a lot of kids watch wrestling. I just don't think it's a good influence to try and make something look cool like that. And then I've slated it in NXT and WWE. A fireball, Jericho producing fireballs out of his hand. I like the fact he's calling himself a wizard. That's about it. I don't like pretend fireballs being fired in people's faces. It's just not, especially from a non-character. So Jericho is Chris Jericho, a wrestler, a sports entertainer. I understand it's a sports entertainment thing, but he's not. It's almost like he's making a joke of it, which is a bit cheap, I suppose.
Yeah,
is what I'm. Is the
and
way
the thing
I'm
is,
thinking.
I don't like the one to Eddie Kingston. Like him and Kingston have a huge rivalry.
Yeah.
To do that, to fire a fireball into someone's face. This guy was just a random guy backstage.
Yeah.
That feels a bit unnecessary.
Yeah, I weren't too keen.
Yeah,
if it was like Penta or something, or the Alex Abrahantes doing it, I could sort of understand it because that's their character. But Jericho's just being Chris Jericho, saying he's a wizard firing a fireball. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing I don't absolutely hate it, but out of this week's wrestling, there wasn't too much for me to pick a skiddy over. They could have left this off TV, and I wouldn't have thought any different at all. Because they came out again a bit later, so it was completely pointless in my opinion.
They did actually. So
they can have that little skid right there.
So then we got the Hangman Page CM Punk face-to-face promo with Tony Schiavone.
Yeah,
I thought this actually was really good.
Yeah, I did
this promo. Page got really aggressive and very passionate promo, basically saying he's protecting AEW from CM Punk.
I like this now. Here.
Yeah, I think it's been much better the last couple of
I've been
weeks.
very critical of Page, but actually this showed a different side of him to me. I think this is what he needs, a bit of edge, a bit of aggression, where he was too much the people, like trying to be the people's champion, I think, and that I was a bit
I
put
think it
off
got a
by
bit
that.
boring. I think it got a bit boring after a while. I think it's one of
Yeah.
those, we've mentioned it before, but when you're a hot baby face, the chase is always better than the run. Like they chase the title and you're really into them, then they get the title and it's like, okay, what now? And it felt to me, Page's run felt a little bit like that. Plus, he hadn't had any big feuds, not really.
Yeah.
So he's faced people like Lance Archer, who are good guys, but like, yeah, just mid card level matches. Whereas now this feels slowly we're getting there now to CM Punk. I know,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't surprise me if he drops the title either. So I'm not. I don't know what to predict yet. I keep going back and forth on what's going to happen.
I don't know if it's a good idea to put the title on Punk.
If Punk turns heel, then maybe.
Feels very sellout-y.
It does.
It feels very anti-Punk to do that. It really does.
I'm very torn, to be honest.
I don't know what you'd do with it then, but let's see in our prediction.
I think if he turned heel, it would be great because heel Punk is like.
I'd probably quite like
level.
that. Yeah, I'd probably quite like that.
If he's like smiley, happy man of the people Punk, I think it would probably fall a bit flat after a little bit him having the title.
Maybe
his
he's
matches
ready for a
wouldn't
heel
be.
turn.
Thing is with Hangman Page is his matches have been really good. I will say that. Like,
yeah,
even though his feuds haven't been good, his matches. Whereas CM Punk's matches probably wouldn't be the same level as Hangman Page's. So it's how you weigh it up.
Although, but if we're getting a heel Page, that gives a new element to his title run.
Yeah,
which could be quite cool.
If one of them turns, it'll be great.
And also, you've always got that Omega card eventually with him coming back. So is he going to come 100%. Back as what? It's difficult, isn't it? But yeah, I agree. I enjoyed it, and I'm actually enjoying Page again now, which is nice because at one point he was like my favorite wrestler in AEW. So
yeah,
I'm really pleased that he's sort of coming back, and I hope that match doesn't let me down. And Punk's a perfect opponent for him, and he's got in his head, hasn't he?
Definitely.
Which is it's a cool angle because Page was always known as quite a cool guy.
After that, we had Moxley and Kingston reforming their old sort of tag team against Private Party. You had Regal and Jericho on commentary again here, like you did on Rampage. The match was mainly overshadowed by that a little bit, to be honest. But there was some good stuff in there. You got a lovely moonsault. I think it was from Mark Quinn. But it was quite short, and the Blackpool Combat Club. Well, actually, Moxley Kingston.
It was all ending for the aftermatch angle. Really,
and then you got another brawl, and it was predictable what was going to happen. Another big brawl between the two factions. They do too many of these, I would argue.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
But yeah, another one to add to the list. But this was all okay. It was all right.
FTR versus Roppongi Vice, who I love the name of.
Yeah,
I mean, this match was pretty good.
With a DQ finish.
Yeah, that was the problem, really. I mean, interference from Ring of Honor, two guys I don't really know.
Jeff Cobb appeared a while
I remember
back now,
seeing him.
He was
against Mox, wasn't it?
It was probably a good year or so ago. Jeff Cobb came in and had a match. I think it was against Mox, yeah. And he's done well. And you know, they got these two guys again. They're from New Japan, so they're building to this super show. That's what they're doing in July or whenever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And Great O'Khan, who I've heard of but never seen before ever. So they just come in and beat everybody up, basically. So I'm assuming what we're probably going to get is at that New Japan Super Show, we'll probably get a triple threat tag team match there. FTR, Roppongi Vice, and those two. This setup was okay, but it was a bit lazy.
Yeah, be interested to see how it works, I guess. But I'm sure the match would be brilliant because FTR could have a good match with most people, can't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I wasn't particularly interested or enthralled here, but I'm sure they're probably going to wait a while to do the match. So I'm sure they've got time to get me more interested.
The match I definitely was
interested. Did like the Iron Claw through the table, though. I will say that was cool.
Yeah. So a match I definitely was interested in was this triple threat between Swerve, Ricky Stark, and Jungle Boy. This
Yeah.
was an awesome high-paced match. I really loved this. They all looked really strong, really athletic. This very nearly got my top mark. If it wasn't for the cage match having such a good storyline, it would have done. This felt like a real triple threat with like people like flying in last second to get the breakups.
AEW doesn't do a lot of triple threat matches either.
No, it felt special, didn't it?
It did feel really cool. And what I liked about it is they put both these tag teams have a big guy and a smaller guy. So they put those 3 smaller guys in the ring together, had a banger of a match, and then they had the 3 big guys coming at the end for the angle.
That was cool.
I really like.
I want to see that. I want to see that triple threat.
I think this is going to be a really good match.
The 3 big guys.
Oh, the 3 big guys, yeah.
I want to see the 3 big guys.
We've seen Keith Lee and Hobbs before, haven't we? We haven't seen Luchasaurus with them.
But because I think Luchasaurus adds that athletic element, doesn't he? More so even than Keith Lee, even though he's athletic. I mean, the bit where he sort of jumped over the rope was quite cool, but it was very much stand there to take.
Yeah, they said, "Oh, they've never seen that before." I was like, "I've seen Keith Lee do that before, like a few times."
More.
So, yeah, it wasn't a big
some real
shock.
Cool spots in this match. Like Swerve landing on his feet from like a super poison Rana, I think it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was awesome. I did write that down.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, that cool sort of aftermatch angle, as you said, it's nice to see that they've got the good mix of one big guy, one smaller, more athletic guy.
Yeah, Starks as well hit a spear and a Michinoku driver in a row to get a near fall in this match. That was a good spot. There was quite a lot to it, wasn't there? And in the end, Starks faded, didn't he, with a submission? And who won? Was it Swerve? Swerve won, didn't he?
Yeah. Swerve won, yeah.
So, sorry, no, he didn't fade out. He was going to, and then he broke it up, and then he hit a stomp to win. Again, my predictions are going to be, I'm not sure on this one. I really wasn't.
AEW is always very difficult, which is quite fun.
It is. It's hard.
Although I say that, I always struggle with WWE. I think it's obvious, and it's not.
Yeah, because they can sometimes swerve you when you're least expecting it for like no real reason. AEW, it's just like, I have no idea who's going to win, especially these title matches. Because I feel like some of these titles could do with a freshening up. But I don't know which ones they're going to change.
All out? It's Double or Nothing, isn't it?
Double or Nothing. Yeah.
Double or Nothing. Yeah.
And then so after that we got
Thunder Rosa promo.
A Thunder Rosa promo, which was fine.
Yeah, it was okay. The only thing I really picked out of this, I've got a real close look of the women's title, and I just think it looks so good now. I love this.
The new one, the new design is better. Yeah,
so good,
definitely.
Really good.
Then we got Britt Baker v Toni Storm, and yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with this match purely because I felt it deserved a little bit better in terms of the spot on the card, the time they gave it. It was in the standard women's spot on the card. They always give women like the second last match. They give it about 10 minutes. But this was a semi-final. It's Britt Baker v Toni Storm. It's 2 of your top women in my eyes.
Definitely.
This could have maybe opened or somewhere else on the card and given a little bit more time, given a little bit more thought. The match itself was fine. Yeah, not instead of the cage match. No, I regretted it when I said that, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. But I think it should just give a bit more time. And the fact it was kind of won by Britt grabbing the ropes on the roll up, and now Toni Storm.
Yeah, I didn't like the finish. I thought the match was good. I did.
The match
enjoy
was fine.
The match.
It was just a bit too short for me.
Yeah, I agree. The end looked a bit sloppy with the grabbing the ropes was kind of already on 3, so it was almost pointless.
I would have done this match as the final at the pay-per-view and given it time.
Yeah.
Now we're getting. I mean, Statlander is fine, but it's Britt v Statlander, isn't it? Which I'm.
Has it been decided? I thought it was going to be on Rampage.
Oh no, sorry. Is it Statlander v
Ruby Soho?
Ruby. Okay, yes, you're right. It is because
have we seen Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we saw that for the title, didn't we? When she first
that
came
was
in.
Initially, wasn't it? So I
think we've seen Statlander v Britt as well. Though,
yeah,
I think,
but
not this version.
Statlander, just because I'm more.
I would rather it be Statlander as well. I would have done Toni v Britt,
and I think Statlander should win to give her that. I don't think Britt needs it.
She doesn't need it. No.
Even if you have some real, maybe this is where you have Hater cost Britt the win or something, and that causes their feud. Because
Yeah.
where does Britt go from here? So
Yeah, that's very true.
quite
very
interesting. But yeah, I guess from Friday we'll know who that's going to be.
And then
main event.
So yeah, the main event was also in the Owen Cup, which was Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly. Good match. There wasn't
Just looking at these two
about
guys, you knew it was going to be an intense match.
Loads of submissions, counters,
strikes. It had it all, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really good, and pleasantly surprised by the outcome, I would say.
Yeah.
So I had a feeling we were going to get the whole Jay Lethal thing again, just interfere. But no, Joe just sent him to sleep, which we always love.
Put him to sleep.
We always love Samoa Joe putting people to sleep. And I mean, but I think both of you guys mentioned last week that it was too soon to do Kyle and Adam again, because I know it's on a different show, but we had it, twice on NXT?
Yeah.
In a big feud. And they're on the thing. We don't need it again.
And I think they also want to build that story more as well around Cole and O'Reilly and the Bucks.
I think,
things like that.
I mean, I don't want to talk about predictions too much, but I think I know what I'm going to go for in the Joe Cole match.
Give us
a Joe Cole match. Sounds like I'm talking about an old Chelsea one.
Yeah.
But it feels very. It's weird because it feels like
Joe to Adamo.
Feels very NXT. Do you remember that scene in like a year ago in NXT when Joe come back and he was taking out people who talk crap to him backstage, and he like put Adam Cole in a choke and took him out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they've never actually had a match against each other though. Weirdly,
this could be incredible.
I think it's going to be great. That will be great. I'm glad Joe's on the pay-per-view. I really am.
And Kyle looked really good, to be honest. I mean, Joe had him in the Brain Buster, which actually is an awesome finisher, by the way. And O'Reilly managed to reverse it into an armbar.
Yeah, that was cool.
Really cool. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know who to predict, really. Joe already has a belt, which makes me feel he wouldn't.
All I'll say is I don't think Joe needs to win this.
No.
I think it makes more sense for a cocky Adam Cole to have this.
Yeah.
I really think that. So, because I don't think he's winning. The thing is with Adam Cole is I don't think he's winning the AEW title because he's just he's
lost it a few times, hasn't he?
So I think giving him something like this would help him more.
I think I agree with
Joe
you
doesn't need it at all, in my opinion.
No.
He's already, like you say, he's already got a belt, and you've got the angle there of Lethal and that costing him. So
definitely.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're done. Really,
I think that's it for WWE and AEW. So we have been Recharge Wrestling, Fisher and Crust, two of the best from the three. We've mentioned it a few times. We have got some predictions coming up this week, ready for the weekend's AEW pay-per-view. Join in on Twitter. You can follow us at Recharge Wrestle. We're going to be releasing videos on YouTube in the build up to that. Please comment, send us a message with your predictions on there. We have the little competition carrying on Twitter. I won't go too much into that, but check out the Twitter and the rules are on there. But please join in, even if you've never done it before. Just send us your predictions. It's really good fun, and it's always nice to see what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
We will potentially be back with a special to discuss the pay-per-view next week. Keep an eye out for that.
We'll definitely do something for it.
The next couple of weeks are going to be mad for content, so please like and subscribe our channel. It really does help and encourage us. Check out all this content. We've also got
3
our
pay-per-views.
Free pay-per-views. We've got predictions. We've got weekly podcasts. General Manager mode from WWE 2K22, which Keeney's doing, which is absolutely great. Tons coming. But yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching, and we will see you early next week in a couple of days actually for predictions. So thanks very much.
Yes.
See you later.
Goodbye.